Wanna know the recipe?
Without further ado, let's jump right into this. We bring new perspective to, what do we bring? Jupiter, the great gas giant. Did the ancient Egyptians know about Jupiter? And what is it that they knew about Jupiter? And of course, what is it that the Tswana Sotho people have to say? Or what do their languages have to say? How do they compare with the ancient Egyptian language? All right, let's jump right into it and find out. Okay, as you already know, we gave out previously the meaning of her, okay, which is the falcon. In this case, when it pertains to the planet itself, it means Hera, meaning to circumnavigate, circulate, enclose, or hedge. Alright, that's what that term means, Hera. Alright, and as we go along, we'll break down each of these associated terms describing the planet Jupiter. As you can see from the Mark Vigus dictionary, planet Jupiter here is given as Her Tash Tawi, meaning Jupiter, and Her Wepesh Tawi. This is in linguistics. Jupiter. Her Sheta Tawi, Jupiter. Same thing. Alright. But all of it is just saying Jupiter, but it is not telling you, or it's not giving you sufficient information for one to know why is it that the ancient Egyptians used different names for the same planet. What was it? What is it about these words? What are they telling us, or what are they describing, or what are they revealing, most importantly? And it is only through proper translation of these terms that one is able to uncover what the ancient Egyptians knew. Yes, unfortunately, no, it is not the Babylonians in the 7th and 8th century BC that were the first discoverers of these planets. Nope, that is not true. As some, historians, scientists, what you call them, experts, right, would like humanity to believe. The ancient Egyptians knew a whole lot more and for a lot longer about planets. All right, let's jump right into it. Okay, the first one that we have right here, Tawi, is Hera Tosha or Tosa, Tewi or Tewi, right? Tewi, Tewi. So Tosha or Tosa. Tosha or Tosa it means to draw to oneself. Okay, Tosa. To pull to oneself. So this is in reference to the gravitational pull that the planet Jupiter has. Okay, Tosa. Right? We didn't have a word for gravitation. Now we have it in our language, tosa, meaning gravitation, or a pull towards oneself, or a pull towards an object. All right, tosa, tewi, tewi meaning a stratum or a foundation, or that which has been established firmly, a firm establishment, right? A firm foundation, right? So the ancient Egyptians never saw the earth as just simply, the earth. They saw it as a foundation, meaning that underneath the surface that we walk on, there is something that has been established there, and then you have the top surface that is covering that foundation, right, in the form of sand, soil, whatever, trees, and then of course us walking on it. So they called it tewi or tei, right, or teo, which means foundation or a stratum. Okay, so hera, tosha, or tosa, tewi, right? In this case, I'm just reading it because linguists read it, but I disagree with that reading, because this is, these are just acting as a determinative. They don't necessarily need to be read. Okay, they don't necessarily need to be read because they had the circumnavigator tells you that it is a planet. So these tewi or tewi does not necessarily have to be read. Yes, it gives us information of what the word is talking about. So circumnavigator, all right, is what it is. Circumnavigator drawing stratums to itself. Ain't that something? It is drawing stratums to itself. All right. So what is it that is known about the magnetosphere of Jupiter? Right? It says Jupiter's enormous magnetic field is 16 to 54 times more powerful as that of the Earth. It rotates with the planet and sweeps up particles that have an electric charge. Near the planet, the magnetic field traps swarms of charged particles and accelerates them to very high energies, creating intense radiation that bombards the innermost moons. Okay, so our ancestors knew, right, that this is the circumnavigator drawing to itself. If we take out the word stratum, right, because it doesn't need to be read in this. Stratum is the foundation, but it's a circumnavigator drawing to itself or pulling to itself, right? And that's exactly what Jupiter does. Right? Okay, very interesting. Next up we have Hera Upish Tawi, Wepish Tawi, Hera Upusha, or Uputa, Tewi, or Tewi, right? What does that mean? Upash, Upush, Wepesh, Uputa, Upusha. It means circumnavigator causing haboobs or storms. Haboobs, right? Haboobs, storms. And of course, it is known that towards the south, Jupiter has these storms that are, circumnavigating the planet. Right, and this the eye of the storm, the great red storm, is it rotates around the planet, Jupiter. It keeps moving around the planet. Okay, so Uputa is to actually cause a storm or throw up dust. Okay, to throw up dust or to throw up particles, or to actually cause a swirl, right? And for dust to swirl or dust to just be thrown up and causing a storm. Right? So this is what this is describing. Hera Upucha or Uputsa Tewi or Tewi. Alright. Next up, what do we have? This is the last one. What do we have? Hera, Sheta, Tawi. Hera Shita or Sita, Tewi or Tewi. Right? The word Shita can mean difficult, just like if you look at this word by itself, what is called Sheta, sometimes translated as mysteries, okay, but also by itself it means difficult, right? It can mean difficult. So in this case it's Shita, but Shita also means surpassing. Shita or Sita. It means, not only means difficult, but it also means excelling, surpassing, or greater than others, right? Or immense in magnitude, right? That's what Shita means, or Sita, right? Which reminds me of in the Hindu tradition, Sita. I don't know if it means the same thing. But Hera Shita, Sita, Tewi or Tewi, meaning the surpassing circumnavigator. Alright, the surpassing circumnavigator. Because our ancestors saw that the planet Jupiter was what? Was greater in magnitude or size than other planets in our solar system. Ain't that amazing? That our ancestors had so much information. Now then, don't let nobody tell you that some alien beings came and built ancient Egypt. That is all false.
Here we go. The first planet that we're going to treat is our neighbor, Mars, the red planet, which scientists have said, there was life there once. It's possible for human beings to go and inhabit Mars and things of that nature, right? What is it that the ancient Egyptians knew? All right, we're going to treat three names. Okay. The first two found in Wallace Budge's dictionary, and the third one found in the Mark Vigus dictionary. The first one being Her Desher, meaning red Horus or Mars, right? As presented by Wallace Budge. And Her Tesher, red Horus, the same thing, Mars. Okay. And the third one, Herakti or Horakti, Mars, by Mark Vigus dictionary. Okay. And then we're going to go into breaking down the actual meaning of these names. What is it that they tell us? Because these names actually have a lot of information in them, or rather, not a lot of information, but very precise information about Mars as a planetary body. All right, and you'll be surprised to learn what is it that the ancient Egyptians knew. with proper translation. All right. Linguists and historians have not delved into this area. I'm not certain if, there are some who actually know the meaning of these terms. All right. These terms, and as it pertains to the planet Mars itself, or they just simply know that when they look at these glyphs, Her Desher, it just means red Horus, because Desher means red, and then of course the assumption or the conclusion would be that, oh yeah, it's referring to the planet Mars. But the question is, what about Mars, right? Did the ancient Egyptians just see it as a red planet? That's it, right? And even this one, Tesher, the assumption that this word is the same as this, but as you will see, that is not the case. All right, these are two different words. All right, these are two different words. Yes, closely related, but they speak to different things about the planet Mars. All right, Her Tesher, red Horus. And of course this one, yes, it is sometimes articulated Heru Kuti, right, or Horakti in Western terminology. What does it actually mean? What is it about Mars? Because it is known or accepted rather that this means Heru of the horizon. Okay, but is it Heru of the horizon really? Okay, we shall find out. All right, so I give you in the beginning the first parts, the falcon meaning, and the stated or the presented hieroglyphs having the same meaning as the falcon, which is Hera in Setswana Sesotho. Hera, which means circumnavigate, circulate, enclose, or hedge. Okay, Hera, which means the same thing. All right.
One in part. This is the main reason for this video, was to give more ancient identification information to the listening and watching audience. Let us revisit one of those ancient names. Your sun god's individual spirit powers are the true star of the universe, and they are countless together with their consort goddesses. The sun god on planet Earth is called by various names by various peoples in different ethnic races by the names Ra, Re, Amen-Ra, Re Harakti, Uranus, Tar, Jupiter, Helios, Horus, Elion, Brahma, Phobos, Dambala, Ela. Nature, Book 2, pages 246 in part. The sun god Amen-Ra, Re Harakti, was replaced by the god Horus as the celestial firepower, and thereby one of the mountains of Moses was called Horeb, meaning mountain of the sun. The sun god Horus is the mythological son of Osiris, Pluto according to legend. Therefore the sun god Re Harakti of the Ethiopian race had to fade into the background and become known as Horus, the son of Osiris, because the moon god Sin Mercury, the traditional messenger of the gods, had taken over spiritual leadership for the first 4,000 years of the moon cycle, and Osiris, who was active alongside the moon god, took over spirit leadership for the last 2,000 years of the moon cycle. Spirit beings can be tricky and elusive. Let it be remembered, always let it be known. Nature, Book 2, page 131 in part. We are and were considered bird-like, and today you will find out that the ancients knew as well. Of this volume, all gods and goddesses such as the sun, earth, and moon are bird-like by nature, in the sense that they are in flight or in the air at all times. Nature, Book 1, page 197. Timothy Collins, Peace, and Marsha, War Times. This is the final piece that I'm putting in after Afro put in the nature books that the planets and the sun are all considered bird-like because they are in the air at all times. And the air in this case would be outer space. So what we're going to do is go to something I did some research on and found in Oxford Research Encyclopedias. It called The Planets in Ancient Kemet, right? So you jump down here, because here talk about the 5 visible planets and all that, but we're going to jump down here. We're going to jump down here. It talks about astronomical depiction were among the earliest Egyptian monuments to be discussed by European scholars in the early 19th century. Before the decipherment of the hieroglyphs, they focused especially on the round zodiac of the Dendera. In connection with that, proposal for the identification of planets were also brought forward, and calculation for the date of the monument based on supposed astronomical positions sprung up. So here they're going to be focusing on the Dendera, all right, which is the round zodiac. Now here they talk about the designation of the planets. Alright, so you just jump down, you keep going down, and they talk about different people who had broke the Dendera down and things like that. And you get down to here, talk about the tutelary deities, iconography of the planets on the monuments with astronomical decoration. Alright, so when you get down here, like I said, I'm not going to drag this out. Alright, because they using this right here. This is I forgot what. Okay, this is in the tomb of let me get his name right. Cinnamut, and it has the planets on in the top left. So you got the top left all up here. Alright, so we finna get it down into it. So here they talk about, in this particular picture they have, Mars is missing. But that's not the whole point. We finna get down here. Jupiter is especially problematic in its transmission. It's a lot of stuff, because they got different types of zodiacs, which we're gonna go into that another day. But here it says, the name of Jupiter is especially problematic in its transmission, the astronomical depiction making use of the main the Cinnamut family, probably also of the Seti IC family. It is consistently written Horus, who bounds the two lands. A subgroup of it, however, writes Horus, the mystery of the two lands. The new kingdom members of Seti 1A family writes Horus, who illuminates the two lands. Late hieroglyphic source give a writing which is ambiguous and could be understood either as Horus, who opens the secret, or as Horus, who illuminates the land. The Demotic writings mostly give forms which may mean Horus, the mystery, but more likely a simply phonetic rendering of a word which no longer had a transparent meaning in contemporary speech. In some cases, the name is even written non-etymologically as Horus the Merchant, which sounds quite similar in actual pronunciation. Quack 1994 and Goeb 1995, he received the epithet the Southern Star of the Sky. Alright, much clearer is the name of Saturn, which is the full form is Horus, Bull of the Sky, and the late period normally shortened to Horus the Bull. He is called the Easter, or in some cases Western Star. Mars is in early attestation often called Horus of the Horizon, which also relatively well attested God's name outside of astronomy. Beside this, mainly in late sources, there's the form Horus the Red One. The most transparent and logical of all Egyptian planet names, his epithet is Eastern Star, which is additional note, he travels backwards. Venus is normally called either the Phoenix bird or the Heron bird, and linked with the god Osiris. All these beings are attested in other contexts. Only in the late period is the name the morning star applied to her with certainty, but possible attestation of specific planets in other contexts. The name Mercury, due to phonetic development of late, also SWGE, is a totally unknown meaning. There's possible connection of this name with the biblical Hebrew Sekwi in Job 38:36. So you just keep jumping down, you see all these different names, but the whole thing I want to point on is that they kept calling all these planets Horus. And we know that what Horus is a bird, it's a falcon. The animal symbol for Horus is a falcon, right? So, but here we talking about the planets. See, overall, all 3 outer planets are linked to different forms of the falcon-headed god Horus, especially connected with the royalty. Venus is linked with his father, Osiris, and Mercury was Set, the brother, enemy, and killer of Osiris, who killed him. Given also that the sun and moon are masculine in Egyptian conception, this means that the moving celestial bodies are conceived exclusively as male entities in ancient Egypt, quite in contrary to many other ancient cultures. So you get down here, you keep going, now we talk about the planet. So we finna jump down here in the temple and stuff where they talk about the Dendera, because we already know that all this is about the planets and things like that. So you get down here, look at this. This is This is in the Dendera temple, Saturn on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. See? When you look in the Dendera, these are the planets. This is Saturn the bull. Because the ancients knew that the planets were the gods. Look at this. Horse. Jupiter on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera, private image. See, Afro Uno knew what he was talking about because the orbs was telling him. Jupiter was telling him the same stuff. That's why he wrote it, and this is where I was able to find it at. So this is Jupiter. Beautiful. Look at this. Another horse. Who is this? Mars on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. Look at that. Y'all got to get it together. Look at that. It's beautiful. Look at that. A double-headed person. A headed. Who's this? See Venus on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. These are planets. You know what this is called? It's called anthropomorphism. When the ancients personified these orbs into human or animal-like figures, but this also represent them and the fact that they incarnated spiritually into people. Look at this. Who is this? Mercury on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. Look at that. Beautiful. And I think all the 5 stars represent planets too when you get into digging into this stuff. Is this the last one? Mars on the ceiling of the temple of Esna, private message. See? This is what y'all have to do. You gotta, when you're in contact, these type of things occur. Let me get a good picture real quick. Look at this one. So you gotta go into this stuff. So when you being contacted properly in the name of NoopooH, all these things, you get to start getting all these things filled in. You start to figure out what the hell is going on. Alright, so just wanted to drop that extra information on you. Truman to calm the peace in wartime.